So Dallas Morning News doing a write-up here on Dan Quinn, and there's some good quotes from him and how he's sort of changed his philosophy a little bit. He gets fired as the head coach in Atlanta mid-season.
Can I say this real quick as well?
Yeah.
The reason I think Atlanta has never done anything since that Super Bowl run, it was such a shocking, heartbreaking loss. You have to blow that damn team up.
Right.
You cannot march these same guys out there, because unless they win another Super Bowl, the whole city is scared to death of them. It's kind of like when the Mavericks went to the NBA Finals in 2006, and all those years afterwards, nobody believed that they could do it, or they were afraid that they were getting knocked out in the first round again. It's like, don't tease me. Unless you win a title, I can't trust it. So in Atlanta, with that Falcons team as is, with just tweaks here and there, no, they're like, it's like too much pressure.
Yeah, too much to overcome there. People don't forget.
Exactly.
So he is now your defensive coordinator. He had time after being fired mid-season as the head coach of the Falcons to sort of reevaluate some things. And so, and I think we've seen it firsthand. When he was initially hired, Walchuk and I both were lamenting the fact that, man, this is a very vanilla scheme. We're getting back to, okay, it's cover 3. We don't blitz. We don't have much variety. There's nothing in the way that's going to be fooling quarterbacks. You kind of have to win with great talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're going to do. The offense knows what you're going to do, and let's just see whose players are better. And to me, that's just not a great defensive coordinator. Well, we've seen in the preseason and throughout training camp, this is not the run-of-the-mill Dan Quinn scheme that he was known for. The cover 3, basic, same front, all these different things.
Right.
You've seen the variety. You've seen the blitzing. You've seen different coverages. You've seen pre-snap movement and trying to fool the opposing quarterbacks. And it's just preseason. And I'm sure that he's barely even scratched the surface on what he plans to do. Now that we get into the regular season, we're really going to get to see it. But it seems like he's being more creative now, and that was something that I was a little bit concerned about. Well, here in this article, he's talking about having the extra time, wanting to do a deep dive in the scheme, find out what he liked, find out what he didn't like about it, find out what needed changing, what needed adapting. And so that's what he did on his sabbatical. And so so he says, he's like, I loaded up on all the tape that we had through my time in Atlanta, Seattle, see what I liked, see what I didn't, and seeing what offenses, based on how some offenses are playing these days, it was a good lesson for him to say, okay, like, yeah, this particular defense worked 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Offenses are doing different things now, and so I'm going to have to adjust my scheme a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he says, I didn't just want to rinse, repeat, and say, here's the package, this is what we do. This package is truly new where we're going, is what he's saying. So he's tweaking some things. And so we're used to the usual stuff, minimal pre-snap deception, and quarterback going to the line of scrimmage, knowing pretty much exactly where he's going to go with the football. We all saw it firsthand with this philosophy with Marinelli and Richard and these guys.
Right.
But that's no longer Quinn's style, according to him in this article. He says, we had leaned on one system for so long that we were playing so much 3 deep. Good news with that is you knew where a lot of teams were trying to attack you. And so early on, it was a couple of plays. Then it became a few more, and then a few more. And then before you know it, it's this and that and this, and now offenses have a million different ways to beat your defense. He says, so a good lesson to go through is to say, hey, you better be able to adjust with more than just that. Our defense was rock solid in the principles, but there needed to be more variation and make it more challenging for the quarterback post-snap. And so to me, that is just a very welcomed thing. I know with Mike Nolan, there was the variety and all these different things, and it became too much. There's obviously a good balance there of just, hey, letting your defensive players go, be great, fly around and make plays. But there's also, I think, an onus on a coach, on a defensive coordinator, to put them in the right position and do his best to schematically confuse quarterbacks and things, put pressure on an offense. And that seems to be what he's doing now, and he's committed to doing that. And now it's going to be a much different defense than, if you were a Seahawks fan or a Falcons fan over the last few years and you watch this Cowboys defense, you're going to say, okay, things are a little bit different. Like Dan Quinn's not just doing the same old. And there's just a heavy emphasis on the communication of everything. and how he communicates to his players, how the players communicate with each other and all these different things. So it's a really good article. I'd encourage you to go read it in the Dallas Morning News. Professional Rebirth has Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn thinking big, and it's evolved. He's evolved as a coach while continuing the emphasis on communication, and he's been willing to adapt and change some things. So I'm excited. I've noticed it. I've just the blitzing in general. If you look at the Dan Quinn blitz rates throughout his time as a defensive play caller, they were extremely low for the most part. And then you see in the preseason, and you're seeing some blitzing, you're seeing some different things, and it's just preseason where you're being more vanilla than you will be in the regular season. And with this secondary and these corners and everything, you're going to have to find a way to rattle quarterbacks in the pocket by blitzing. Hopefully Gregory, Lawrence, and the guys on the defensive line will be able to get after it without some blitzing. But when you have guys like Micah Parsons, say what you want about Jalen Smith, one of the things he does well is blitz. So I think you're going to see that. He's going to get creative with Donovan Wilson as well, who we saw last year as a really good blitzer as a safety. So I'm looking forward to this defense in a way that I was not maybe 3 or 4 months ago.